iReal Pro is a super powerful app for creating backing tracks based on chord charts. However, it is not the easiest to navigate. So if you're getting overwhelmed by it, you are not alone, and we're going to solve it. Hey beautiful teachers, my name's Nicola. I'm a piano teacher over in Dublin in Ireland, and on this channel I share tips and ideas to help you become a better piano teacher and have more fun while doing it. Now this video is going to be the clearest instructions for using this app, iReal Pro, on the iPad that you have ever seen, at least for piano teachers, and that's my guarantee, or your figurative, since this video is free, money back. If you've been confused by trying to use this app before, then I've got you covered today. I'm going to be going through step by step how to download charts and how to create your own charts in iReal Pro, and I'm going to do it all from a piano teacher's perspective, because I think those of us who normally camp out inside the grand staff can be extra confused by certain aspects of this app. So let's get to it. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you the forms so you can see how you can download charts that other people have created. So this is if you want to do a song that you think someone has probably input. Any popular song will probably be there already, although it sometimes will have substitutions or different chords than you know for the song, but it's always worth taking a look. So we're going to go to the forums for this, which might sound a bit odd, but here's how it works. We tap on the globe icon that's in the top left corner, and we hit the search bar here, and it says enhanced by Google. This is actually a Google search which just searches the forums. So let's say we wanted to do, I don't know, let it be or something like that. Just type that in there and then ignore the first couple of results here because these are actually ads. We don't want those. We just want the ones that are iRealB.com something something. So if we go to this one right here, so if we tap on this blue link right here, that's where we can download it, and you'll preview it first. So I suggest you always check this and see whether you're actually happy with it, because sometimes it's not quite what you want. Then it shows you underneath the pattern here and a few notes about it. Doesn't always have notes like this, but this one does. And then if we were happy with that, we would tap on the import song button. I'm not going to hit that right now, but that's where you would click. Let's just try another song to show you something a little bit different. Since we're doing let's do Let It Go. Many of you might be looking for this. And then if we tap through to that, then the blue link here, that's where you tap and you can see the full version that they've written out. You can change the key later and it'll transpose the whole thing, but if you are playing it and these do not look like the right chords to you, it might not be worth importing it, but it might, and you might just be able to edit some of the chords. It all depends on how different it is. So if I import song, I'm going to close this box and I'm going to scroll down, or let's just search Let It Go. So this is our song that we've brought in. And here I'm going to tap on the play button. So you'll see up there, it says final at the top. That's because there's only one repeat on this. A lot of the songs will come in with multiple repeats because they're meant for practicing, that kind of thing. But this just has one. You can also see the style down here is pop rock. So you can change this to any other one you like. It'll usually have the one selected that's going to be a good fit, but you can totally mess around with it. So let's see what Let It Go is like with an Argentine tango in the background. So that's our tango. How about we try a jazz one? Doo-doo cats. Okay, so you can change that, and the tempo is changing there automatically based on the style. However, you can then change the tempo as much as you want as well. So let's say we want a really slow doo-doo cats, which will sound pretty silly, but that's what could happen. And if you're in the middle and you want to go right back to the start and play from the beginning, just press the stop button, which is the square beside the play button. Then you can also change the key, as I said before. Let's say our student is actually playing it in A minor, then you could change it to A minor so it matches, but again, just check that the chords do match what you have, because there's always interpretation and room for different things there. And then if we want to change the instruments, we go to this slider type of panel here with the lines and the bars across them. And that's where we could turn on or off various instruments. So I'll just hit play again and then go here so you can hear. We turn off the bass and it's just drums, or we don't want any drums for some reason. And then we can change the actual instruments. So let's say I want a nylon guitar there, and then a slap bass there. Okay, so those are some of the things that you can do with a chart that is already put in. And if you did have like 1 or 2 chords you wanted to change, here's how you would do that. So let's go to the pencil icon, it's in the top right corner, and go to edit. And let's just say that your version doesn't have this B sus chord. Well, you could just click on that, and then in this box you can see where it's typing, and I just press backspace, and that's gone. So now it's going to continue E flat add 9 all the way across to where the B flat minor starts. But if I wanted it to be something else, I don't know, I'm just going to choose at random, a G6, I just put that in there. Okay, and I can tap done, or I can tap save. If I want to save that, I'm going to tap done and say don't save, because that is not the correct chord for there. Okay, so those are charts that are already created. Now what I want to show you, because I think it's the most useful in many cases for piano teachers, is how to create your own chart. So if your student is playing a song, if you've written some music, if for whatever reason you want to input your own chart for a drill to go along with a song, for any other reason, you're going to want to create your own chart from scratch. And this can be really honestly counterintuitive for us as people who normally read off the grand staff. I think for jazz musicians, for guitarists even, for many other musicians, this makes a lot of sense to them. But I think for us it often doesn't. So I want to give you my perspective as a piano teacher. So if you're in the main library view, you're going to go to Songs in the left-hand side, and then go to the plus sign in the top right of that side menu. And then our new song. So I'm going to be inputting a chart for Some of These Days, and it's by Shelton Brooks. And right away I'm going to set some of these settings. So it's on the faster side. I'm just going to put this in bossa nova for now. And we're going to set the key. I really recommend you set the key right away to what you want it to be, because when you transpose later, it doesn't show in some of the views. So I think it's useful if you set the key right at the start. So we have G major for me. And then I'm going to leave the template blank. I'm going to go to create. Okay, so here's where right away, if you want to change the time signature, you should do that. It will assume you're in 4/4, and in this case I am, so I'm going to leave it. But if you hit the time signature button here, you can see all the possibilities. Just be careful. I'll show you briefly what I mean here. If you change it to 3/4 and then put in some chords, now I'm just going to rush through because I'm just showing you how it works in terms of 3/4. I'll show you how to put the chords in later. But if I do this, if I assume there's 3 spaces per bar when I'm in 3/4, I'm just choosing chords at random here, it doesn't change the spacing. So this is one of the first things that is quite counterintuitive. See how we didn't end up with a full bar on the end. So you're not going to want to space it out like that. You can't really do it as if there's 3 spaces per bar. You have to make it divide evenly by 4 across the line. So just in future, once you get used to the app, if you're inputting things in 3/4 and getting really confused about why it's not playing in the right order, that's why, because you have to finish the line with a full bar. You have to finish with a bar line. And if you don't space it correctly, you can't do that. So we're back in 4/4 anyway. It's assuming I'm in 4/4 if I just do nothing. And in this piece, I'm actually going to start with a bar with no chord in it. So that is going to be NC, and it lives under the sign for the same chord again, which is the slash with the 2 dots either side of it. And you'll see NC there. Now, if you want to just type it, you can do that as well. If you just type N, it returns no chord, but that's with an attached Bluetooth keyboard. For this tutorial, I'm going to try and use just the on-screen keyboard so that if you don't have a Bluetooth keyboard attached to your iPad, you don't need one. So I'm going to type NC, I'm going to hit return or go next on the on-screen keyboard, and then next again. And now, so you see if I tap, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces or spots, and then I'm going to hit the bar line and then go next again. So now I'm in a new bar. I can put that bar line wherever I want, but I'm going to go with equal 4 spot spacing for each bar for us here today. My next chord is B7, so I just type B7 on the on-screen keyboard, simple as that, and I hit return or press next, and next again. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and I use the ending bar line. You could also go to 5 and use the bar line that goes before the space you're in. It's the same difference. Now, you do need to put in the chord repeat sign, which is the slash and the 2 dots either side of it, if your chord is continuing into the next bar. It won't assume that it does, even though on a chord chart that would be assumed. So I'm going to put that in this bar because it's B7 again. I'm going to go 4 forward, put in my bar line, and then I have an E minor chord next. So you see how now it's worked out evenly, where in 3/4 it didn't. Then I put my bar line there. B7 is next. Oh, whoops, sorry. So I do that all the time. So that's a good point. I was in this spot, even though I typed my bar line. I expect it to have went forward, but it doesn't, right? So it's user error, it's my fault, but it's just something that happens to me all the time, so it might happen to you. So I skip forward, and this is the same chord again. Skip forward, put in my bar line, same chord, no, sorry, E minor again. So there I accidentally hit the bar line symbol on the screen because I'm used to using my keyboard for all of this. So if that happens to you, you just tap on it again and again and it'll turn into different things. Put the bar line in there, and then this is same chord again, bar line in there, and go to the next line. Okay, and we just continue like this. So this is an E7, and it's the same chord again, and I think you get the idea here. So you can type any chord into any spot, and you just need to remember to put in your bar lines and to do the spacing evenly here. Now, a few notes about things that feel a bit odd to me. So I've already talked about the time signatures. One other thing that feels very odd to me is the way the delete kind of thing works. So if you press the backspace button, or sorry, if you press the minus button that's up here, so that is the one, put that bar line back in, that is the one that's in that top, just above the keyboard on the screen, and it's a minus sign and like a back arrow symbol. If you tap that, it's deleting anything in that space, which is the bar line at the end of the space. So this always feels backwards to me. Now, maybe it won't to you, maybe it's just me being goofy, but if you do get confused by this, that might be why. So you're actually deleting what's in front of where you are. Does that make sense? delete that there and show you again. So I'm going to put a chord in front of here. Let's say we had a G6. Don't know why that's my chord today, but apparently it is, and all of this stuff. Okay, now I expect to go to the end here and go backwards on this button and to move it back like I would if I was typing, right? I would hit the backspace and it would move the cursor back and back and back and back, deleting as it went. But it doesn't work that way. You delete what's in front of where your cursor is. So if I wanted to delete this G6, I would go back to here and delete from here to delete what's in front. Something that you can just mess around with, but it does get a bit confusing for me, so I thought I'd mention it. And then the other note, which is not really me goofing up, I don't think, it's just a feature of iReal Pro. If I scroll down, if I hit input a full chart, and I'll show you a full one in a second, there is a maximum number of bars per page, and you would need to use multiple pages, and you don't really want to do that, trust me, if you have a really long song. So I suggest some creative uses of repeats. If you know a part is going to repeat, then put in the repeat sign rather than rewriting it. For example, I have B7s followed by E minors, and actually I made a little error here, so that would actually be another, so it's a B7, B7, E minor, E minor. So I could actually put a repeat sign here by pressing on the bar line again a few times, and if I remove that one, and I could delete the other stuff because I don't need to put that in. So I could actually start the E7 there with a repeat sign before it and repeat this section. So you don't need to do that if you don't have a really long song, but if you look at it and straight away you know it's long, it has a lot of different repeats and stuff, you do need to get a bit creative about how you use the space that you have. So I'm going to show you a song that's like that. I have input Piano Man here for a student, so let's just pull that up. So I have had to be a bit interesting with my repeat signs here and with my use of spacing. This looks totally insane, but I promise you it does perfectly match a version of Piano Man, which is like 5 minutes. So you do have to experiment with that. Definitely start with something simple and short so that you can get used to the format and the way you input chord charts. I hope that walkthrough gave you a starting spot. Start with something simple and see how you get on with it, and hopefully my directions there were really clear for you to follow.